Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to my channel Reviewed, where we talk about all things television and film from today and yesteryear. So I wanted to come on here and give my thoughts on The Shy Season 8, Episode 3. The episode starts off with Reggie. He meets up with the guy that he used to be friends with, and he basically lets him know that he don't appreciate the fact that he is not working for Nuck. He was like, "How you gonna be out here in the streets working for my op?" And the guy was like, "Look, dude, I didn't even know you was still alive. You ain't hit me up. You ain't let me know what was going on." And Reg was like, "You supposed to be my boy." He's like, "And if you had stayed around after everything happened, then you would have known that I made it out, that I was okay." And so the guy, he trying to pretty much like almost make amends with Reg, but Reg is not hearing it. He's basically like drawing a line in the sand, and he's letting old boy know that they definitely have beef.
If I knew you was gonna survive, I would have came back, man. Well, I did. My bad. Nigga, fuck you.
Vic and Shad finally get out of jail, and I'm so happy because, like I said, I did not want them to be in jail this whole season. Like, I was like, if y'all gonna have my boys in jail, we're gonna have a problem. So they get out of jail. Jake is, talking to them, and Jake does let them know that Tiff is living in Alicia's old house. And I was like, girl, what are you doing? So you living in Alicia's old house, not only are you living there, but you're living there with Nuck. And so Jake lets them know that Tiff want them to come over, and you can already tell that Vic is already feeling some type of way, especially when, he already understands that Tiff is no longer single. Okay. So they get to the house and they sit around the table. You can tell that there's some animosity between Vic and Nuck. And, Tiff, she is, asking them if they need anything. And Shaw was like, I need a job. And Tiff was like, well, Charles, he running the barbershop, so you can sweep the floors or whatever. And Shaw was like, cool, whatever I can get, I'll take. And, she's like, do y'all need anything to help get y'all on y'all feet? And so they end up giving him a large amount of money, like a duffel bag full of money. And you could tell Vic, he is just not here for it. He is not feeling the whole scene at all. And Nuck, Nuck, he was putting his arms around Tip, almost like he was rubbing it in Vic's face, low key. And it definitely made him feel some type of way. And you could tell that Tip was a little uncomfortable having both of them around the table at the same time and in the same, just around each other at the same time. But, at this point, it is what it is. So Shad and Vic, they leave Tiff's house and they end up going to Vic's home. And of course, Reg is there. Him and his goon, they, standing up like they gonna do something. And Vic was like, you need to leave. And Reg was like, no, I don't. I want this house in a bed. And Vic was like, you need to be up out of here. And he hands them the duffel bag of money that Tiff gave him because he already knows that Reg is moved by the coin. Okay, like anything that got to do with cash flow, Reg is here for it. And sure enough, him and his goons end up leaving. And later on in the episode, we do see Reg pull up on his ex-girlfriend. And, he flashing cash in her face. He was like, I want to help you pay off. I want to pay this house off for you. I ain't got nowhere else to go. But my thing is this: if you just got handed all this money and you running all these substances and everything through the streets, how come you can't get your own place, Reg? That's what I don't understand. Or how come you can't get one of your goons to get a place in their name? You know what I'm saying? Like, that just don't make no sense to me. But anyway, Reg ends up pulling up on his old girlfriend, and he tells her that he loves her, and she falls for the trick bag. Just like, don't just be saying stuff to be saying it. And of course, we already know that she wants the finer things in life. That's what made her start liking Alicia when Alicia was trying to, infiltrate her and get information about Reg. So, of course, she ends up allowing Reg, I assume, to move back into her house. So the ladies meet up for a sister circle, and Tiffany, she's addressing her concerns about, her wondering what type of mother she is. She's like, does it make her a bad mom that she allowed her son to go live with his grandmother? And, a lot of the girls, they're just trying to give her words of encouragement and just saying, sometimes you have to do what's best for your child. And sometimes it's not necessarily being with the mom, depending on what you got going on in life. And, you know, a question comes up about if Tiff would have a baby with Nuck. And, Keisha was like, I had a baby with him, like, so what's wrong with you having a baby with him? And I'm thinking to myself, y'all taking this sister girl thing too far. Okay, but anyway, so Tiff, she is kind of like, I don't know. And Lene, she kind of makes this noise and give her this look. And Tiff was like, what's wrong with you? And Lene was like, he just not a good person. And, Tiff was like, everybody, ain't nobody in here perfect or whatever. And Lene was like, yeah, but he be around here murking people. And so they was like, who did he unalive? And Lene opened her big mouth and she said, Pastor Zeke. And I was just like, girl, now keep in mind, whatever they talk about in the sister circle is supposed to stay there, right? It's supposed to be a safe space for them to be open and have conversations with one another and just kind of keep it there. But of course, Tip was not about to do that. Okay.
What's wrong?
Did you kill Pastor Zeke?
Where you heard that?
Does it matter?
It does.
I've heard it from more than one person.
Okay, then why you asking me now?
Because I'm tired of hearing this shit from new people every day.
You can't just accuse me of some shit like that and not tell me where you heard it from.
Lene. Is it true?
No!
Where are you going?
I gotta take care of something.
Listen, I understand Tiff not being able to bite her tongue about the whole Pastor Zeke situation when it comes to Nuck. However, she should have left it at, I'm tired of several different people telling me that you had something to do with it. She should have left it at that. The fact that she name dropped Lene, it was out of order to me. He did not need to know that she was the one that you had got the information from. That just made no type of sense. And you already know what type of person he is. And sure enough, as soon as Tiff told him who told her, we saw Nuck headed out the door. And let's be clear, honey, in this moment, Bakari was not the exception when it comes to Nuck. The only reason why Nuck did not pop Bakari is because everybody would have known who did it, okay? From Lene to Tiff. So there was no way he was going to be able to pop Bakari in this moment. And even though he fired Bakari and let Bakari leave with his life, Bakari better watch his back. So Bakari goes home and he confronts Lene. He was just like, did you do that on purpose? Why did you tell anybody what I told you? And she was like, no, she didn't do it on purpose. And, he's upset because now he got to figure out what he's going to do for money. And, Lene was like, go get a job. He was like, I ain't no regular 9-to-5 type dude. Like, I don't think so. He used to a lot of money fast and easy. And Lene was like, well, you better go do something or you're going to be homeless. And we do see later on in the episode that Bakari ends up getting a job at Smokey's. So Riley, she ends up taking Devontae to this youth group with her that she hosts with other teen boys. And, they're sitting around talking, and Devontae says that he can't wait to be grown so he can do what he want to do. And of course, the other boys, they agree with him. And Riley lets them know, like, honey, being an adult is not what you think it is. Like, okay, the older you get, the more responsibility you're going to have. It's not that easy. And what I liked about this is that you got to see all these young boys who come from different backgrounds, but who have had similar experiences in their home life and life at school. So Emmett meets up with Papa to have a conversation, and this is per Papa's girlfriend's request. Okay, she goes to see Emmett. She lets Emmett know that Papa is not himself. She's like, he's been smoking, he's drinking, he's not going to church. He's just doing all the things that Papa usually would not do. And she says to Emmett, she's like, maybe you could just kind of talk to him, give him that father-like energy or whatever. And Emmett was like, hold on now. I'm trying to figure out how to be a father to my own kids. I can't necessarily guide Papa per se, but she meant it in a way of just some other male energy, just talk to him. So he does. And to me, my observation is this: Papa has suffered two losses, his real father and another father figure in Pastor Zeke. So I think he is just on this journey of trying to figure out, what is this all for? What is this about? And he is probably questioning his Lord and Savior, because he's like, okay, why are all these things happening to me about people who I care about and love? And so I think he is just trying to find his way. He is trying to find his way through whatever walk he is currently going on. So, honey, Bakari is cleaning up Smokies, okay? He wanted to be on the register, but Emmett told him, look, if you want to work here, you're not going to be on the register at first. You're going to have to clean up. You can mop the floor, sweep, whatever, but I'm not putting you on the register. And Bakari felt the way because he was like, I'm not your brother. I'm not going to steal. And Emmett was like, nah, if you want to work here, this is what you got to do. So, honey, Bakari is playing the maintenance man right now, okay? Like he is cleaning up everything. However, I am glad that he humbled himself in that moment to know, hey, let me just get out of my feelings and let me go get a job. And that's exactly what he did. So Emmett gets a visit from the elder, honey, the original owner of Smokies. And, he says that he was in town and he just wanted to see how everything was going. And, Emmett lets him know about all the little upgrades. Ain't no menus no more. We have a QR code, whoop de whoop. And he ends up having a conversation with Emmett about franchising, which we get to see Emmett have that conversation later on in the show with Keisha. He brings it up to Keisha and says that, he thinks it's a good idea if we start franchising Smokies. And Keisha was like, I really would want you home with me and the kids because we just got so much going on. She said, but however, the more money that we're able to bring in to support all these kids will be beneficial as well. So I guess we will see what Emmett decides to do in reference to Smokies and him franchising the business. So after a long day at Smokies, honey, Bakari is getting ready to head home, but guess what? He ain't driving his car. He gets outside and a repo agent and got it hooked up and getting ready to tow it off. And Bakari's like, hey man, what you doing? And the dude was like, you behind, you done missed 2 payments. So hey, I'm picking it up. So Bakari is getting ready to walk off, and I guess he's headed to a bus stop or whatever. And here come Reggie pulling up. Hey man, you need a ride? And of course Bakari's like, yeah. So he gets in the car. Him and Reggie have, exchanged a few words. And Reggie was like, if you want to make some quick money, I can help you out. He was like, I just need you to make a drop for me, no strings attached. And Bakari was like, when it comes to money, there are always strings. You know what I'm saying? So he pulls out the product and he tells Bakari that he wants him to, sell it for him. And Bakari's like, oh man, you selling pills now? Nah. And Rich was like, okay, then fine, I'll get somebody else to do it. So of course, Bakari, he is thinking about the fact that he want to get his car back and he need him some quick cash. You know what I'm saying? And so he agrees to move the product for Reggie. And my whole thing is this. I'm like, okay, so Reggie, do you know that Nuck let Bakari go? Because let's be clear, I'm sure the fact that they are competitors, I'm sure the news travels fast in the streets about who is no longer working for whom, okay? And so the fact that you would ask Bakari to move some product for you, that lets me know that Bakari is no longer associated with Nuck. So Bakari agrees to, like I said, he agrees to move the product. And at first, Reggie told him he would give him 50%. And Bakari was like, no, if I'm going to move this right here, I'm going to need a little bit more off the top. So Reggie told him he would give him 60% if he can get rid of the product in 48 hours. And my thing is this, I'm wondering if Bakari is going to try to push that product through Smokies. Like, how are you going to move these pills so fast? Like, I'm wondering what he is going to do in order to get that return for Reggie within 48 hours. So we get this moment between Tiff and Vic at the cigar lounge. He's going to go back to his job there. And, they're having a conversation. Tiff tells him that she now understands why Alicia had to be so tough, being in charge of a business that is mainly male run. She just have to be, she got to be a certain way. And, you could tell Vic, he's listening to her, but he is thinking about something else. And so they do have a conversation about Nuck. And Tiff was like, don't make it seem like I chose him over you. And Vic was like, well, you kind of did. And let's be clear, she did. But we also understand that she felt like that was the decision she had to make because she didn't know what the outcome was going to be with Vic being locked up. And, we know that Vic did have feelings for Tiff, that he was feeling her. And let's be clear, Tiff was feeling Vic too. And, she was like, is it going to be hard for you to come back here and work? He was like, nah, we good. It's all good. It's cool. They cleared the air. And Tiff was like, you want to hug it out? And Vic was like, no. And when he told her no, I was like, yeah, he still definitely feels a way about her choosing Nuck over him. And I understand. And unfortunately, Tiff don't understand that she definitely chose the wrong man. Okay. So while Vic is picking up his feelings about Tiff, honey, Shad is on a date with attorney Patience, okay? And she let Shad know, hey, thank you for taking me on this date. This is the first real date I have been on in years. She said, but just know this, if you want to be around me, it can't be no foolery going on. Like, you're going to have to get your stuff together. And Shad lets her know he ain't going back to jail at all, like never again. So I'm just curious how this is going to turn out for the both of them, this whole situation.
Did you hear me? I said I love you.
So here Tiff is laying in the arms of the enemy. And Nuck may indeed love her, but we also know that you are the person who got rid of her child's father. Like, you have infiltrated yourself in Tiff's life to the point where you are now living with her. And when I tell you, I really do not like how the writers are playing this with Tiff, because she been through enough. Like, I don't like this at all. And I got a feeling that she is going to be the one to put the bullet in Nuck. And she has every reason to do so. But I'm wondering where the information is going to come from now. I wonder if the blood is going to get so bad between Nuck and Bakari that Bakari is going to tell everything. Like, something has got to give at this point. And the fact that Tiff did not tell him that she loved him back, maybe we'll see that next week. Or I'm wondering if Tiff is feeling some type of way because of the conversation that she had with Vic. You know what I'm saying? The fact that she got to be in his space again, be around Vic again, I'm wondering if she is feeling some residual feelings that she also had for Vic. And if that is the reason why she didn't tell Nuck that she loved him, or if in fact that she just knows that something about Nuck is not right. Like, I really do not like this. I don't like this. This is the last thing I wanted for Tip. Like, I really did not want her to be associated with Nuck on this level. But we here now, and I guess, we'll see how it's going to turn out. Okay. Well, that's all I have for you guys in this video. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.